Hi guys, we're going to look at solving an inequality for x. So we've looked at solving equations or finding the value of x by isolating x, and the way we isolate x or get x by itself is to use inverse operations to get x on one side of the equation and all the maths on the other side. That is how we solve for x in an equation. Now we're going to learn to solve for x in an inequality. So a new heading, solving inequalities. All right, so we'll start with something quite similar to the ones we were doing before. It's a nice and easy one. Let's look at x plus 3 is greater than or equal to 12. So straight away, as soon as you see this symbol greater than or equal to, you know that you're not solving an equation, you're solving an inequality, because these things are not equal to each other. So the answer is going to be x has a value between this number and this number, just like we did on the number lines. X could be any number of values. All right, so we are still trying to get x by itself. So we can look at this as if it is a set of scales also, although the scales are not going to be equal all the time, but we're still going to use inverse operations or the opposite operations to solve it. So let's have a look. To get x by itself, we do have to move this plus 3. So we're going to ask ourselves, what is the inverse operation of plus 3? Well, the answer to that one is it is minus 3. So we're going to take 3 away from both sides of this inequality. If we take 3 away from this side, we're just going to be left with x over here. And 12 minus 3 is 9. Okay, so that's it. You've actually solved it. So x has a value that is greater than or equal to 9. So it could be 9, it could be 10, it could be 11, it could be 12, and so on and so forth. But that's as far as you can go with that nice easy one. Let's do one that's a little bit more complicated. Let's do 4x minus 3 is less than -7. Okay, so using the same principles, we're just going to ask ourselves, well, what's the object of the game? Well, it is to get x by itself. And how we do that is we start moving things from this side of the inequality over to the other side. So we want x to be on this side and all these numbers here to be over with the -7 so that we can use maths to solve this. All right, the first thing we're going to move is this -3, and I'll give you a tip. We always start moving things that are the furthest away from x. So see how the 4 is really close to this x? It's 4 times x, you'll remember that. I kind of like to think of this 4x here as being sort of they're like married to each other or something, and the -3 is a little bit more separate. So we want to get rid of the thing that's the furthest away from the 4, okay? So the inverse operation of -3 is going to be +3. So let's add 3 to both sides of this equation. 4x minus 3 plus 3 is simply 4x. Put your inequality sign underneath your inequality sign, so your inequality you're working out is all lined up nicely. If we add 3 to this side, we have to add 3 to that side. -7 plus 3 is -4. Okay? So now we've got 4x is less than -4. All right, how are we going to undo this? Remember, there's a little multiply in there. What is the inverse operation of times 4? It is actually divided by 4. So we're going to divide everything on this side by 4 and everything on this side by 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1, or 1x, so it's just x. These cancel out, if you will, if you prefer that method. Over this side, negative 4 divided by 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1, but a negative divided by a positive number is a negative number. Okay, so the answer is x is less than negative 1.